Well, without further ado, it's the final race of the first day of the Rotax Max Euro Trophy Open here at the home of champions karting Genk, based in the very nice Limburg region here in Belgium. It's heat number 3 for DD2 to see us out on the first day of action. 10 minutes plus an additional lap. The grid is as follows. Zenderua on pole position. Alongside will be Piotr Wisnicki. Daniel Mahacek and David Remy will start on row number 2. Ahead of Finn Albig from Germany and Luca Munaretto from Italy. Thomas Berstins will be alongside Marcel Steiner. That's row 4 with Sebastian de Grand and Max Fleischmann rounding out the top 10. Just fractionally behind Max Fleischmann is his FM Racing teammate from Switzerland, Jan Schwitter, who will have Emil Antonsen in the number 409 alongside for company on row number 6. Jakob Bezel and Sivert Moiland will be on row number 7 ahead of Manuel Tenschert, Walter Svidris, Ronnie Gertler, Barry Pullinger, Lucas Joly and Antoine Gonçalves rounding out the 20 strong. Could I also call for Ilian Brunsiels 308? That's Ilian Brunsiels 308. Senior Max driver, can you make your way to the top of the timing tower? So if you can head towards the steward's office, we'd greatly appreciate that. And that is along with Slavomir Moransky and Mike Van Vught. So it's Derua and Wisnicki on the front row. Mahacek and Remy, row 2. Albig Munaretto, row 3. Berstins, Steinert, de Grand and Fleischmann. That is your top 10 for this final DD2 race of the day. So drivers being asked to slow. Red lights on the starting gantry. Do we go green? Apparently we do. As we've got 3 abreast, a little bit further towards the second half of the grid, going through turns 3 as well. But everyone's made it through cleanly thus far. Looks like David Remy's made up a place into 3rd position, probably past Dames Racing's Daniel Mahacek from Austria. So leaders coming through, turn 9 at the moment. With the and there's a little bit of side pod barging between 2 competitors around about 17th and 18th position. As there looks to have been a change for 3rd place. That could have been, looks to have been, I think, maybe Mahacek back on David Remy. So the pair swapping positions. Luca Munaretto still sitting in 5th on the Birolart chassis, as there's a bit of tussling, I think, between, maybe was that Max Fleischmann involved there, along with Finn Albig from RS Competition. So Albig loses out to his countryman there. So just over 8.5 minutes plus an additional lap to go. So 2 leaders can't be separated at the moment. That is Derua. Not running the Intrepid livery, I remember, from last year. With a very stealthy matte grey there, it looks to be. Ahead of Wisnicki. The gap now between them. Well, it was just over a 10th and a half. It was over on that particular occasion. So Derua leads from Wisnicki. So Derua looking very formidable at the front of the field, but Wisnicki still staying there. As mentioned earlier, there is no driver's briefing that was scheduled at 6:30 this evening. No driver's briefing this evening. 7 minutes 30 plus an additional lap to go in this final DD2 race, and also the final race of the day, as David Remy getting hot on the heels of Daniel Mahacek for 3rd place once again. Some good battles a bit further down the order, including Lucas Joly in the 4:15. Looks to be with the likes of Manuel Tenschert, who was very much in the thick of things in last year's DD2 class in the Euro Trophy. Barry Pullinger clearly having a good turn of pace yet again. Looks to have made up a few places. He was showing up in what was effectively 15th, and he looks to be now in 14th position. So he's probably just got past Emil Antonsson. But Wisnicki now has the lead ahead of Zenderua. So 4:03 leads from Poland ahead of the 4:35. Then it's Mahacek, Remy, Munareto, Fleischmann, Steinert, Bezel, Albig, Schwitter rounding out the top 10. Sebastian de Grand is just outside of the top 10 by about 0.4 of a second at this moment. And I'm just wondering, has Schwitter made the move on Albig? Looks to be the case. Yep, that is definitely the case, that Jan Schwitter now up into what is effectively 9th position. Leaders coming through turn 8 now. So Wisnicki leading, still ahead of Zenderua. Daniel Mahacek, who has David Remy closing a good cart length or so over the last couple of corners. Munareto from Italy still rounding out the top 5 on the Virolant chassis. Maxi Fleischmann trying to push and get closer, as is Marcel Steinert, who looks to have closed the gap on the FM Racing driver. And again closes up on the number 406 in the braking zone, but whilst they're battling away, this is allowing KSCA Saudi Austria teams Jakub Bezel to try and close up on the pair. And the pair were separated, well, the trio was separated by less than 0.4 of a second. Nice move up the inside at turn 7 there. A little bit further down the order. Looks like Finn Albig definitely showing some good pace and some good momentum. But it's not enough at the moment to get Finn Albig towards the higher part of the top 10. And at the moment, the fastest lap of the race is being set by the leader, Wisnicki, who did a 54.442. But now it's Max Fleischmann who takes the fastest lap and is closing on Luca Munareto. Could I also ask that Genimax driver 245, you need to go to race control immediately. That's 245 to race control immediately, please. Thank you. So Wisnicki continues to lead from Derua, who's looking to settle in 2nd position at the minute. Mahacek in 3rd, David Remy in 4th. And behind them is the pair of Munareto and Fleischmann. And Fleischmann is bringing along with him Bezel and Schwitter. It looks to be the case. So Wisnicki still continuing to lead. We have just over 3 3/4 minutes left. Well, Schwitter is a bit distant, I've just seen, to the tune of about a second from Jakub Bezel. So Schwitter in 9th position at the minute. Albig rounds out the top 10. So Wisnicki continues to lead ahead of Zenderua, and they've put a bit of a gap between themselves and Daniel Mahacek, who's tried to fend off the unwelcome advances, let's say, from Dan Holland Racing's very own flying Swede in the form of David Remy, who is closing up on the Austrian yet again. Fleischmann has yet to get past Munareto for 5th place. And he's got Steinert and Bezel closing up. So it's a good little battle there for what is effectively 5th on the road, as Munareto gets the head down, as does Fleischmann, to try and keep in the tow. So the gap between Wisnicki and Derua stayed pretty much the same at around 0.3 of a second on that last tour, as they now enter into turn 8. Ahead of Mahacek, who's got a bit of breathing space now between himself and David Remy. Then it's Luca Munareto, Maxi Fleischmann, Marcel Steinert, Jakob Basel. Then it's a further distance of, again, still around about a second between Basel and Jan Schwitter in the 4:27. It's the 4:88 of Finn Albig, who continues to stay in 10th position and has a lot of room to not have to worry about Sebastien de Grand in the 4:47 behind. Lucas Joly, unfortunately, has retired from the race, and that was on lap number 5. And we're now on lap number 10, with just over 90 seconds plus an additional lap remaining in this race. So there's no real changes of position. Gonçalves down in 19th, behind Walter Svidris. Barry Pullinger in 17th position, having initially gotten his way up to 14th. Meanwhile, whilst Mahacek has dropped Remy has started falling into the clutches of the likes of Munaretto, Fleischmann, Steinert and Basel. So the battle now that's really going to heat up towards the end of this race, as there's a brazen move there by, I think, was that Finn Albig? I couldn't really, no, that's not Finn Albig. That could have been maybe Jakob Basel on Marcel Steinert. There's another positional change behind Max Fleischmann. As nice move by Luca Munaretto, I think, to take fourth off of David Remy. So Remy's now fallen into the clutches. He's been overtaken by the Italian. Will Fleischmann have another chance to get past the Swede? As the two leaders now will come across the start-finish line with literally seconds to spare, as Jakob Basel is not having a great time out there, and I don't think the driver behind, which is... So Basel is ahead of Marcel Steinert on the road. So the timer has expired on this last race of the first day of competition for the Rotax Max Euro Trophy Open here. So these drivers are competing for a prestigious entry ticket to the 20th anniversary of the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, as there's an absolute train being led by David Remy, who's got back past Luca Munaretto from Italy. And then you have Fleischmann, Basel, Steinert. Schwitter's there now as well, I believe. And Schwitter's going to try and go up the inside of Steinert. But the checker flag is being prepped and readied. And well, there's a bit of drama there. That is Jan Schwitter off the road at turn 10. But Piotr Wisnicki takes the win by nearly 2.5 tenths of a second ahead of Zenderua, who started on pole position. Daniel Mahacek takes third, but what a drama for Jan Schwitter on the final lap of the race at around about turn 10. Must have been going for that move on Jakob Basel, I believe, and it didn't quite pan out for the Swiss driver. But Piotr Wisnicki is the last winner of any race in the first day of competition for the Rotax Max Euro Trophy Open here at Karting Genk in Belgium by nearly 2.5 tenths of a second ahead of Zenderua. Daniel Mahacek takes third in the 4:30 ahead of Max Fleischmann. David Remy would end up fifth ahead of Luca Munaretto from Dames Racing in 6th position. Jakob Basel, Finn Albig, Sebastien de Grand and Marcel Steinert rounded out the top 10. Thomas Birstins was 11th ahead of Ronny Göttler. Sivert Moiland, Emil Antonsen rounding out the top 14. Manuel Tenschert finishing in 15th ahead of Barry Pullinger. Walter Svidris, with Antoine Gonçalves being the last of the 18 classified finishers, with Jan Schwitter down in 19th, unfortunately having to limp, I think, to the flag, with Lucas Joly only completing 4 laps in duration.